On this episode, why it's so much harder to maintain bioretention systems than any other sort of vegetated stormwater asset once the weeds get established. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ideanthro. Today, we're going to delve into something that I've alluded to on these videos before, but never actually got in and looked at in detail. And that is why, if you don't maintain a bioretention system or any other vegetated stormwater treatment asset, why it is that it suddenly becomes so much more costly once the weeds start getting established. So today we're out here at one of Brisbane City Council's creek filtration systems. We've been to this system before. If you want to see what it looked like a little while ago, you can check out episode 77. And I just happened to wander past the other day on the way to the train station and noticed that the weeds have really taken off in the past couple of months in this system. So it gives us a great opportunity to look at a system where the weeds haven't completely taken over, but they're sure as anything on their way to getting there. So really briefly, let's just throw up a couple of photographs of this system a few months ago before the weeds got up. So you can see here that this system is established really quite nicely. It's a couple of years old. The desirable understory species like the lomandras and the carex are doing really nicely. The the melaleucas, the trees, are getting up. They're taking a little while to establish, but they're getting there. And there are some weedy grasses coming in here. Now, let's flip this around and take a look at the system today. What you can see here is it's very different, particularly down that left-hand edge. There are heaps, those weedy grasses have just got up and essentially taken over everything. And coming down this way, there's some aquatic weeds and the typha coming in. You can see that it's just a really different picture. Now I'm going to walk down here a little where we can get into this in a little bit more detail. What we're going to look at is the fact, is practically what happens from a maintenance point of view if the weeds get up to a certain point around the plants, just what that means. So come down in here. So as you can see, we've got these weedy grass species that have come in on their own, growing really quickly. We've got some more of them, down there. But in the center here, whoa, slipped down the bank. That's going to be on video forever. In the center here, we've got some more desirable species. It looks like there's a carex in here. And that's a carex behind us. Looks like there might be a little cyperus of some sort sitting down in there. All of that stuff is desirable. But what you can see here is the weeds are getting established next to it. So this is a weedy species coming up right next to it here. It's growing up in only a couple of months. So the carex has taken a couple of years to get to that height. This weedy species has taken a couple of months to get to that height. We've also got this climbing species coming in over the top here. And so what's happened? Can you imagine if you had a regular but simple maintenance program, as soon as these couple of weedy species here had got established, they would have been tiny little specks right down by the side and could easily have been picked off. But now, once they've got up to this height here, they're completely intermingling with these plants. If they're left, you can see how, like is what is happening a little bit more over here with this one, that they'll just completely take over and come completely over the top. Heck, to some extent, this one is even getting its leaves and its flower spike up and over the top of a young melaleuca, which is a tree. So the problem here is eventually they'll get up and just outcompete them for light, and they'll smother them out. You can see it happening more and more in the center over there, and it's a real problem. The system's in real trouble. So what does this mean for maintenance? I've said that if you were in here regularly and got into these while they were young, it'd be really easy to pull them out. But what about now? What would happen now if you tried to do this? Well, here's the thing. At the moment, let's spin this back up. At the moment, most maintenance and management that's done in this space is done like using herbicide to spray stuff. There'll be a bit of manual removal, but a lot of people are using herbicide to knock stuff off. Well, imagine at the moment, look at this plant here. Look at what's going on here. Imagine you want to get rid of this weedy species here. How do you spray that without hitting the carex? You're not going to be able to do it. So suddenly we've got to this point, whereas when the plant, if you got in here more regularly when it was small, you could have easily taken it out. Could have easily, either manually or with just a tiny little bit of herbicide. But right now it's got to the point where you essentially cannot spray this. You're essentially going to have to hand remove this, particularly same with this climbing thing. You ain't spraying that. You've got to pull that out by hand. It's going to be a terrible, that species, I don't think I actually filmed that. It's going to be a terrible job. And this is why it gets more difficult. Also, it's time pressing because here, these weedy, grassy species have been growing up super quickly, and like if they're left for much longer, they're over the top and they're going to start out competing the other species outright and knocking them off. So this is really time critical as well here. And that's what I wanted to show you, just the physical manifestation of that, how once the plants physically get up so close to each other, you're just losing options as to how you manage this, and you're increasing the risk that through accidental herbicide overspray or accidental slashing and like pulling stuff out the wrong way, that that you're going to knock off. Not only is it going to be more expensive if you do get it right and get rid of the weedy species, it's going to be harder, but there's a far greater chance that you're going to knock off the desirable species. It is just another reason why it's so much more important to look after this stuff proactively and regularly and keep the costs down by doing that, versus coming in here reactively once this stuff's got established. And this is going to be a heck of a job to try and fix this up. Cool. Thanks for tuning in. As always with Ideanthro, if you have any questions, ideas, topics you want to see on videos, topics that you want to jump in and talk about on video, by all means hit us up. We'll have a chat about it. You can find us at ideanthro.com. There's a contact page. You can find out how to contact us there. You can find us on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Ideanthro. Sweet. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.